Are we ready to begin? My sister Sonia, when we were kids, my older sister Sonia used to sing all the time, constantly, in the car, driving off on holidays, down to the library, or just out for bread and milk. ABBA, mostly, or the children's gospel pop we'd learnt at church. Just singing away, quite loudly, often out of key. What a show-off. I tell her to stop. Ask my mom to tell her. She can't even sing. Sounds stupid anyway. Just shut up already. Sonia would laugh or tease me or sulk. But then one day, she stopped singing. And she just sat silently, staring out at the mute world going by. And when we drove off on family holidays, Sonia wouldn't sing along anymore, not even when my dad played the greatest hits. I remembered this and I felt bad. Tell Louise, I've got to fix this. My sister Sonia picks up the phone in PE 30 years later. She's surprised to hear from me. I say, I've been thinking, yes, I need to tell you what. It's been weighing on me, and I know it might seem silly, but I need to say that I'm sorry. There's a pause. And then my sister Sonia says, this isn't about the singing again. Every few years you apologize, forget it, I love you. Anyway, I never stopped. And then my sister hums a few bars from Dancing Queen before clicking off her phone. Thanks again for being here. This is a very special evening for me. It's been like a really incredible privilege to meet Paul Hanmer and hang out with him a little bit. He's doing his postdoc here, only a few more weeks left. And it's been quite amazing, and it's a real privilege to be sharing this collaboration and playing. Let me tell you a little bit about one of my ancestors. This is my great-great-great-grandfather, and he was a telegraph inspector. This would have been Germany, 1800s, wearing a big old square white beard. He appears all serious for his portrait. I mean, he's a telegraph inspector. You need to have your beard pretty square, pretty trim to walk in going, I'm here to inspect your apparatus. Telegraph operators weren't permitted great big old square white beards. Oh no, they couldn't be trusted. A follicle might fall between the clapper and the clapped upon. Operators would have to be clean, fresh shaven, could sport a dapper moustache, perhaps only if you were a favorite. And maybe my great-great-great would test them on their Morse, going, Wilhelm, what is ... and Will would scramble, S-O, and because it was a trick question, my great 3 times grandfather would go, too slow. And then you were out. You were out there on the avant-garde of information technology. You were sending signals from over the earth, under the oceans even, confirming your being by the poetry of the dots and the dashes and the dashes and the dots. Needed a big old square white beard from within which to purse your lips at those fingertips tapping. Louise and her luxbug. You know what a luxbug is? It's like a luxury beetle. They made it in 1974. It's got these like trim wooden paneling, very nice. Louise is my wife. She had one of these beetles for a very long time. Here's a story about Louise and her luxbug. Louise lionizes that beetle. Big old copper gold Volkswagen that rattles and roars every dawn. She primes it, polishes it, paints out every scratch, wraps it up in nylon every night. I've tried to lead her to reason, tell her it's getting old now, time to get it sold now. Its battery's bound to bomb 3 times a winter season. But no, Louise loves that luxbug. Her thoroughness irritates, stubbornness infuriates. And yet, one day when my gears grate and when my seats are torn and my engine's worn, I hope she won't be trading me in either. She's unaware of how she twists the landline up when cradling phone to shoulder. Yes, she'll be turning around and chattering while fussing with the desk's utensils, meanwhile knotting it and tangling cable into twisted mess. But when she's not looking, he's learned to hold it up at one end and let the phone spin out. Let gravity relax the cable, ease it open, stretching out its angry turns. Similarly, the garden hose. From his days as a roadie, he knows you need to loop a quarter twist to keep the cable supple, retain its default spring. Sometimes he secretly loosens the lids of jars he knows she needs. Uncle Noodle. Ah, he said when I saw him for the last time. Now you find out who really cares. Uncle Noodle had always been my favorite. In a world where adults were there to state, to judge, declare, he was indecisive, unsure, insecure, sometimes wretched, often defeated and wary. His heart had chasmed in the wake of his wife's leaving. She divided him from dignity, collapsed his happiness machinery. I remembered him howling in the garden as a posse of therapists managed him to the ground, silencing his grief with a needle full of numbness, stopping his fight to end the life he'd found. Later, we'd laughed about the others in his ward, one obsessively folding, unfolding, refolding a paper, another sycophantically praising the food, wanting more. We joked about the blunt strokes of the Casio tone the old dame played next door. When they'd moved him to his final room, they'd removed boxes and boxes crammed with slides, 10,000, 20, a lifetime's worth of overcrowded colored glow showing that he was alive. Vast accumulation of lonesome wanderings, now rubbished, unstorable. His kidneys hadn't been on the job and stubby fingers were fattening to yellow, the waste inside unshorable. And Uncle Udo had dragged himself through so many dreadful days, used up all his cliches, now no more choices left. I stroked his head, said, "It's okay. Soothed eyes bewildered by fear. What else to say? How ease his pain? I'm sorry about your slides, I said.